respects Nikola Jokic when the media's voted him MVP in 2 of the last 3 years. The card the Nuggets can play is nobody talks about us. Nobody, spends airtime discussing us, column inches writing about us, because frankly, the Nuggets aren't very interesting.
The Nuggets aren't interesting. Okay, see, this right here proves we have a problem when it comes to NBA media. Because when did good basketball become not good enough? When did we stop wanting to recognize why great teams were, well, great? The NBA playoffs have been excellent so far. In the East, the Bucks crumbled in the first round at the hands of Jimmy Butler and the 8-seed Miami Heat. The newly crowned MVP, Joel Embiid, and the Sixers folded to Boston. In the West, the Lakers knocked out the 2-seed Memphis Grizzlies and the defending champs Golden State Warriors. And we even saw young stars like Jalen Brunson and De'Aaron Fox, have memorable performances that shows that these are young stars on the rise. And right now, as I'm speaking, the Boston Celtics are trying to come back from down 3-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals. But the silence around Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets is quite alarming, quite deafening. And at some point, we have to be honest about what we're seeing and about what the quality of basketball media is if we're too bored with this. The Denver Nuggets have been phenomenal all year long. The number 1 seed in the West with one of, if not the best player in the league right now, in Nikola Jokic. Yet for some reason, the conversation seems to always be pointed in different directions. And Sports Illustrated's Chris Mannix only spoke truth and the disappointing reality that the Nuggets aren't valued like other teams, despite giving us every reason to be based on their play. And today, we take the time to give them the credit that they are deserving of, no matter what hoop drama mainstream media and hoop casuals may prefer. What's good, y'all? It's your boy Greg, and welcome to In and Out. Question: how is a young guard who's coming off a season-ending injury being sidelined for an entire season only to return to peak form not interesting? I think one of my favorite developments throughout an NBA season is the evolution of players going from one tier to the next. The playoffs tend to be that final test, the last look for hoop fans to validate if what they're seeing is real or fake. For some, this is a pleasant surprise. You weren't too familiar with this game, and that's okay. It's like your friend putting you onto a dope artist or a great food spot. You didn't realize what you were missing, but you're glad you got it now. Then there are those who've seen the writing on the wall. You knew the talent was there. The question was more so if the moment was going to present itself for that talent to shine. Jamal Murray has been that talent this postseason. One of the things I kept telling my guys was that Jamal Murray was showing just enough flashes throughout the season to prove that he was himself. He just needed the regular season to get his legs back, and that's the version of Murray everyone should be worried about. And man, it feels good to be right. Jamal Murray has averaged 27, 6, and 5 so far through the playoffs, and he's coming off a historic Western Conference Finals, averaging 32, 6, and 5 on 50, 40, 90 splits, the only player to ever do it. Many people claim that the Western Conference MVP trophy should be his, and while I don't fully agree, I understand the sentiment. In Game 2, Murray dropped 23 in the fourth quarter alone to finish the job after pretty much struggling that whole game. Then he came back in Game 3 to put in 30 points in the first half alone. After the Denver Nuggets struggled to get anything really going, the offense seemed to be really still. The full bag was on display, from pull-ups to tough step back to the tried and true pick and roll action with Jokic. Murray's return to the playoffs is one of the feel-good moments that hoop fans tend to rally around. I don't know where everyone stands on the bubble, but what Murray displayed there felt sustainable. Like, what he was showing us was very much something he was capable of bringing to the floor on a night-in, night-out basis. But because of his injury, that momentum came to a halt. And while he sat on the sidelines and spent time recovering to get back to the floor, many hoop fans moved on to the next. Out of sight, out of mind. This postseason propels him to conversations that some of us were preparing to entertain years ago. And we might have if he didn't get hurt. This doesn't feel like a comeback. This feels like an announcement. If he's able to continue this elite play to take home the Larry O.B., then we have to start asking ourselves, where does he fall amongst others we consider all-stars? Question: how's a two-time MVP leading his team to their first finals appearance in franchise history not interesting? Nikola Jokic right now is on his way to having one of the greatest postseason runs in NBA history. If he and the Nuggets are able to finish the job, of course. Right now, he's leading the team in almost every major statistical category: points, rebounds, assists, averaging 30 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists. He's been dominant. But the intriguing aspect to Nikola Jokic's game is the fact that his dominance looks nothing like the league has ever seen. I love the great bigs of the past eras, the Shaqs, the Tim Duncans, the KGs, the Dirks. They helped influence the diversity we see at the big man position today. However, what we've seen from Jokic is so unique and so different. And the greatness of it all is that it's coming off a regular season where people were hunting for ways to not acknowledge him. From mainstream media to barbershops, nobody wanted Jokic to win MVP. All because 3 in a row for a guy who has never been to the NBA Finals seemed too far-fetched. All because some prefer Joel Embiid's style of play over Joker's. And as the playoffs progressed, it became evident that while Embiid's MVP honors was deserving, there is a clear distinction between the two premier bigs. Entire postseason to the finals, Jokic has put on a masterclass on manipulating defense, adjusting to different looks, and simply demoralizing his matchups with his grit and tough shot making. And it's been done in such a way that guys like Murray, Gordon, MPJ, KCP, and others aren't left to stand idle and watch. But the flow of offense and his style of play is inclusive. Going into the finals, the Nuggets have 6 guys averaging double figures. None of those guys are shooting under 45% from the field, which is a testament to not only them hitting shots, but also the consistent quality of shots that they're getting. After the West Finals concluded, Magic Johnson jumped on Twitter and told the world that what we're seeing out of Jokic belongs in the same air as the likes of other greats. And not just greats, but the greats, like Jordan. He says, the Joker is changing the game of basketball right before our eyes. Much like Michael, Larry, LeBron, Steph, Kobe, Kareem, and Shaq. What more evidence do we need? The Denver Nuggets style of play or cast of characters may not be what you're used to in a finals team, and that's okay. No, it's not founded on a loud, charismatic superstar. It's not located in a major market, but to call this team not interesting enough is just false. With so many factors in the balance this coming offseason that we'll get to another time, if the Nuggets can win 4 more games, this feels like the beginning of something dynastic, and we should embrace it. But that's all I got for this one. If y'all enjoyed it, which I hope y'all did, let me know what y'all thoughts on the Nuggets this season, and stay tuned for more videos. As always, eat, sleep, breathe the game, be safe. I'm out.